Hi, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative. Grand Rising. Good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday, the 29th of October. I'm here joined with Honey again. Honey, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Actually, your day, my night.
Good. Yeah,
Although we
it's oh,
we're actually not as far apart in our time as we normally are because in Europe, the clocks changed. They went back on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and also in Portugal, in Portugal, which is why I'm in this dark room because it's this hotel room. They think it's ambient lighting. So and it's at
but you're kind of glowing in there, so I think that's fun.
it's the yellow shirt, right? We
Yeah,
have to add a little sunshine in it, but we're only 6 hours apart, honey. I'm so excited. I feel closer to you.
I know. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
No, that's
It's
really good.
Oh, wow. Well, the 29th is interesting. So we've got the 29th and the 30th as we're talking about with Three Eye Atlas. So maybe we should just start in with that one before we go into
Sure.
some of the other topics. That there was something that was going on. What we're hearing is that Space Force is doing some countermeasures or saying that they're getting ready to do something. And they've also now said that they're finding other things, but there's so much chatter about the meaning of Three Eye Atlas and and I think it's variations on a theme of what people want to believe. So what should we know right now, honey, about Three Eye Atlas and the energies coming in?
I would say the three-eye atlas that we see in the media is a different atlas than is sending us energy. So you need to
Okay.
realize that there's two things going on, and
Hmm.
a lot of times two things are going on at the same time.
Hmm.
But we have a being that is very amazing and had a very hard time when Atlantis fell and has original codes. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, I saw this in the astral plane last night. I don't feel like that was a dream. It feels like it was real. Guess what? It was. So we're starting to know that this reality is not the only reality.
Mm.
And that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go.
Mm.
So, working on yourself, helping yourself through that process energetically is very important.
Hmm.
But then the outside atlas that we see that Space Force is investigating and NASA is saying is happening and all that kind of stuff, that is the introduction, I believe, to extraterrestrials and ET contact. So, what will they say when they investigate? Who is Space Force?
Yeah, first of all, people
Star
have
Trek.
yeah. No, exactly. We talked about that being Star Trek last conversation. And it is obviously they have the same logo, but it is also this idea at Space Force. I've actually spoken to someone at Space Force, and I did an interview
Yeah.
with him early on, Space Force Chuck. And there was a reason he was allowed to go out and do that then. So many people do know about Space Force, but they don't know why it was developed, what it's different. And right now, so let's ask this question, honey. What is Space Force's role right now within the US and then broader within what we consider Earth right now?
It's the beginning of the timeline of the Star Trek era. So Star Trek was a documentary, especially the first,
The original TV
edition of
show?
Trek. Yeah, like that. And this first season
Yeah.
was
Wow.
a documentary, and all of the Star Treks that are coming out now are white hat, and they're just disclosing all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is going to be the way that we go into space.
Hmm.
And it will be probably slightly different than what we've been told because we've been told that space is empty and basically you just float around up there. That's
Hmm.
not how it works.
Hmm.
So, according to my higher self, you have portals that you're going through. Space has fascia. Everything has some sort of form, and it's plasma up there. So, there's going to be a lot of different ways that we go through space and get to different places. But Space Force to me is the first iteration of the Star Trek era on Earth.
Um, so it really is this environment where we're connected with the broader galactic community. When you say Star
Mhm.
Trek, we have an introduction of technologies and that we are aware of all of these things. That's kind of when you say Star Trek world, that's what I'm thinking of. Other than you have to wear Lycra suits, which I don't think we're going to be wearing Lycra. I'm just going to put it out there.
I no, I don't think so either.
Okay.
It
I'm
will be
sorry.
a
I
natural
had to go there.
fiber.
We have to be funny about all of this. But it's interesting because I think, and I want to go back into the technology in a second because that's a really key thing that I think we should be talking about today. But really, what we're talking about here is that there is a lot of information that we are getting at this point that shows us that we are not in the world of before, and that also to be ready for that contact. So I remember, honey, we talked about this one video channel on YouTube, which is The Truth Will Set You Free, GLF Federation. All of them are sort of under the same guise. I think they may be AI generated, but they are putting out over and over again, this is what humanity was doing. This is the history of humanity. This is how we're taken over. We are now ready for this. And they're doing this. Is that the official preparation for those of us who are aware of what is going to be happening soon?
I mean, anybody who's putting out information about ETs is helping, unless they're putting out a tremendous amount of negative information.
Mhm.
And I mean, the first thing that popped into my head was Barbara Marciniak.
Mm, mhm,
And it feels like they're kind of following her books. And they basically are also following what the collective is bringing in. And they have a connection to the field. So there's someone that's connected to the field. You know, like we're all connected to the field, but who can really download information from the field all the time?
yeah.
It depends on how your intuition works.
Yeah, and people are getting stronger and stronger intuition, but it's really fascinating because it's over and over again, and it's a beautiful message. It is that, yes, we were taken over. And it's always the story that goes back 350 or 450, whatever you take your thing and about how it was a decision to allow us to be disconnected from source, and that how we're now going back to source, and how it was all these different factions, and how the Galactic Federation came in and we're all going battling to make certain that we are doing the light and that more and more light is coming in. So it's a super, super positive message. And I just feel that the more these things are coming out and the more we're guided to them, that's because we're supposed to see them right now. And it's helping us transition because we are here on the front lines to help people. So, do you feel that we're going to have anything particular happen over the next couple days? Or is it all just unfolding?
I think we could have something fairly big happen over the next few days. What it is depends on us. So, is it going to be something that leads to something else? Or is it going to be the thing that happens? You
Mm.
know, so it really depends on us. It doesn't really feel like humanity's ready for it to be the event.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, we made ET contact today. They slingshot it around the sun and they're here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that's happening
Yeah.
tomorrow. However, it could be the prequel to that. So we'll just kind of see what comes up. But whatever's happening, it's continuing to build.
Yeah.
And
You
it
mentioned
will continue to build until humanity's ready to let it show up.
Do you think that, so let's ask this question. So we saw that Three Eye Atlas got close to Mars, and that closeness to Mars, they did something, and they're talking about the chemical changes on Mars. Did Three Eye Atlas reseed Mars to restore that planet, or what were they doing there?
They're just bringing it up. They're basically saying, look what's going on Mars. Ooh, what's going to happen when they get close to us on December 17th?
So they're trying to
You
do,
know,
okay.
Like they're seeding the
It's eating the
information because
narrative.
Mars is fine. Mars is fine. Mars has regenerated. And we have to remember that the planets have a being within them, so they can do what they want as well.
Hmm.
Like sometimes they need a little help for certain things, and the ETs are great at helping with that. And so are the big beings, that are floating around out there and doing things constantly. And you could be one of those beings.
Yeah,
All of us could be.
exactly.
But
In one part of
yeah.
our experience. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's beautiful. So let's go and go back to this thing. You talked about the Star Trek world and we talked about technology. So let's bring it back to sort of technology and the unfolding of what we're seeing here on the Earth plane. Right now, we're seeing that there's a lot of tension with China. So, a number of reports that have come out that talk about how CEOs, venture capitalists, and people who go to China, they see that the level of technology that has been developed in China far exceeds what we've done in the Western world in Europe, in the US, in Canada, South America. Specifically, when you look at factories that are producing cars and factories that are doing other types of production, even like the iPhone, that there are no people, that there's literally they're dark because you don't even need to have light when it's all computerized. And it can go on and on and that right now that China controls technology at a very different level. First of all, let's act. Is their technology superior to what the Western world has? And was that done on purpose?
Yeah. Yes, and yes. And they're the ones who are getting ready to go to the gold back system faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to push everybody.
So they're doing that. So then let's bring this in and tie it back into what you've been telling us about the population of China. Did China actually develop it? First of all, the advanced technology that China has, was that developed within China, or was it using global academic universities or given to them by external sources?
I get given.
Given by
So that's
extraterrestrial?
interesting. And I think it's just sped up over the last few years.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's part of the narrative to push the rest of the world.
Mm. So
Yeah.
why have we started to localize technology production as China has ramped up their capability?
Well, I think that everything needs to be brought back to the local level.
Hmm.
So everything that people need to have around them needs to be brought back to the local level. And I think that will push people to do so. I think the lack of Chinese goods is going to start to shift. And if you want to go buy something, eventually, I think if you want to go buy something, you will go buy it. Like you will take the train and you will go buy it.
Mm,
So this is part of the shift.
mm.
And it's part of the angst that people may feel with China that will push the rest of the world
Yeah.
to catch up because
Yeah.
all the technology is there.
So have we been repressed from the technology, or have we just been lazy and not invested?
Both. But a lot of it is they didn't want that technology. For some reason, they've chosen to push the technology faster in China. And I get over the last like 4 years, 5 years. So since COVID, it's
Okay.
really pushed
Yeah.
faster and faster.
Yeah.
And it is tremendously ahead, but I don't think it was that far ahead before that.
Interesting. And so they're talking about how, well, you have China has all of this technology, and the US has made a major bet on artificial intelligence. Is the US ahead of the game on artificial intelligence, or is China equal?
China feels like they're more into the robotics,
So they're
and the
into the
US is more
physicality of
into
it.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, the intellectual stuff.
Yeah.
So, I
Interesting.
mean, and that will probably be a bridge, but as the ETs come in, as we do make that ET contact, technology for everyone will explode. So, and I think we're leaning that way really quickly. And
Hmm.
it's been seeded. Musk has talked about it. Pretty soon we'll have a high monthly basic income, he said.
Yeah,
And,
he
he
did.
posted that. And then recently, I don't know when this was, maybe in May, Trump established a sovereign wealth fund.
Yes, he did that. Exactly. We talked about
Yeah.
that. The sovereign wealth fund, which is really commoditizing, or I would use the word tokenizing our assets because he's owning. Yeah, this is really an important thing. Well, actually, that goes into a couple things. Let's first go into this one first. Well, first of all, Amazon layoffs. Actually, sorry, I want to do this one before we go into the Amazon. What is the population now in China?
It's very
Humans.
comparable to the US.
Okay.
So it's about the same. Is the US at 330 million? I don't get it is. So it's under 300 million
Hmm.
per, country. And a lot of the countries, their population is much smaller. And they're also not telling you how many people actually passed away. And the population hasn't caught up with that. And also, NPCs are disappearing.
How many people in China, what percentage passed away in China versus what percentage passed away in the US, as an example?
I get about the
Okay.
same amount of people, but I think that China had a lot more NPCs that were holographic that are starting to like completely disappear.
Is that why they had to go to robots?
No, it's because they went to robots that they didn't need them anymore. So I'm getting.
The NPC. Okay. So it was the inverse of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. So robotics going to take over pretty much everything on the manufacturing side and what we call the dirty
Yeah,
jobs.
until we hit replicators,
Hmm. Yeah.
because then you won't need anybody.
Yeah.
You just have a machine, and you'll have a machine in your house, and you'll probably have a bigger machine in your town. And maybe that creates cars, and you've got a smaller one that looks like a microwave that creates your food and your clothing and
There, we're now in
things
the
like that.
Jetsons. We're in the
Yeah,
Jetsons.
yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
We're in
Wow.
transition for sure.
So let's now bring this into Amazon. So Amazon had a massive amount of layoffs. That I think it was 60,000 people that they said. Is that the real number or is it going to be higher?
I think it was 14,
Okay.
but then I also saw that they're planning on laying off 600,000.
Hmm.
And if you think
Wow.
about like the amount of people that work for Amazon, it's got to be massive. The
Yeah.
factories themselves, like when we drive by one of those Amazon factories, it's all cement and
Um,
it takes up like two or three city blocks.
oh, yeah, yeah. No, that, and remember they
Just
were trying to
like
do this in New York?
massive, and there's no windows, nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's kind of an
So,
interesting, yeah.
yeah. So, really knowing that, eventually Amazon will switch over to robotics. The thing is that people all worry about is, oh my God, are we going to be taken care of as we go through this process? Yes. Yes. I mean, there's no other way that it would be happening otherwise, because guess who's in charge? It's not the negative. They're not in charge anymore. So we have the positive in charge, and they're basically shifting things as fast as they can, as fast as we consciously allow them to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're contributing, all of us are contributing to what's happening right now.
Yeah, and it I think it comes down to this belief system. We control our reality. And if we choose
Yeah.
to believe we won't be taken care of, you're right. If you choose to believe we will be taken care of, you're right. No matter what, we're experiencing what we create and everything, even as the broader collective is going through this transition. But it is all about really what you're saying is it's about the fear of no job. When maybe the real thing is that it should be the joy of not needing the job, but having work that is something that's fulfilling. And that's really what everybody wants anyway. So this is a beautiful concept kind of a thing. So if you don't have to sit and, do certain things that you don't want to do, that's a beautiful thing. So why don't we look at it from that perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is that we all have had this fantasy that someone will stand up on a podium and basically say, okay, we're switching over. Tomorrow, everything changes. Nothing has ever worked that way
Yeah,
on Earth.
nothing.
So we
Yeah.
have to let things change and know that we're okay while we do it. And if you don't feel like you're okay, then work on your nervous system and work on your inner child, which is your human self, and try to let go of those ideas because we truly create our own reality. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and there were no walls, there was no floor. All that was left was the bed. And, I walked out of the bathroom and that's what I saw. Like nothing was left. And I was walking in my bare feet on the decomposed granite and the little stickers that we see outside. So
Mhm.
it we don't this stuff doesn't really exist. It's all different frequencies of light.
Mm.
So
Mm.
once you know that, and once you know that you're a fractal of like everything,
Yeah.
source, God, whatever you call it, why would you not be taken care of?
Because you want to take care of yourself. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So the original, I remember the first time I ever heard that concept when someone recommended to read the Seth material, where the Seth being came in and talked about that there's like you create all these things. And I'm like, oh wow, that's definitely a mind bender. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what you're saying, that you're experiencing that. And that's the understanding about how powerful we are in the creations that we are. So what these things that are happening around us are things that we create that are for us, for these experiences that we have. And if we're able to observe what we're doing or what's happening, that's really the experience we're trying to have and to learn. This is an
Yeah.
incredible opportunity to go through something that's a massive shift. It's not boring down here. That's all I have to say.
Mm-mm.
Definitely not boring. So I want to
It's
ask one
not
more question.
boring. Go
One more
ahead.
question before we have to jump off because we said we do more
Yeah.
shorter, frequent interviews. So right now we're talking about there's an issue with Argentina. The US is bailing out Argentina from their financial crisis, and they're doing it from the bond perspective. It's essentially, we're going to prop up your currency so you don't have this problem. And it's done because you have the major investors in the currency are the major investors who are the ones who have the most of the money on Wall Street are the big funds. It looks very similar to the situation that happened in Puerto Rico when the bonds collapsed. The
Mm.
little guys lost all their money by investing in the bonds that were their pension funds that were in the banks, and they lost everything. But the major funds continue to be paid out and they litigate on them. Why are we seeing this again? And what's really happening? Why is the US propping up the Argentine peso?
I feel like it's some part of a Like there's a lot of different reasons, it feels like to me. So Argentina is where the Nazis went, right?
Hmm.
Argentina is kind of a melting pot like the US because there's many different representations of different countries there.
Hmm.
Argentina has been abused tremendously. Um, there's an agreement there, and I feel like these actually have to do with the Chinese bonds.
Hmm.
So it's not just the bonds like, in the stock market. It feels like there's different bonds backing things up.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it may look very dire for a few days when things switch over,
Hmm.
but Argentina will be brought right along with everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's being used as an example as well,
Okay.
I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They're also flushing some people out.
See, now this makes a lot more sense because the big investors are the ones who are pushing all of these things to make things work. But there's definitely shifts in the financial system. So this also just part of the shifting of the financial system to say that we're connected? Is this a positive opportunity, what we're seeing?
Yeah. It'll be a very positive opportunity. It's another disclosure point. And so most of the politics, the actors, the big people, the big fish have all been caught and all been sent away.
Yeah.
There's a few people that have been teetering, and they may be an NPC at this point, but there might be humans that still believe that they're here and that they're still like intact and have a consciousness,
Mm.
but they need to be seen for what they are too.
Mm.
So this could be like the town mayor, this could be someone in the financial business, this could be someone in the medical business. There's all these middlemen and also very wealthy people that were probably working for the negative that need to be seen for who they were as well. Like it needs to be seen all across the board
Mm.
in all of society. It doesn't mean it needs to be extreme, but everybody needs to see.
Yeah. That's very
Yeah.
good. Very, very good. Well, honey, that's the questions I have for today. Is there anything, last word that you would like to say?
I would just say let go of worry, let things unfold, and everybody will be taken care of. And if you feel like you need all the details, then your nervous system it's not feeling safe. So, really working on your own inner stuff, your nervous system, your health, all of the things, your emotional health as well. Those things are really important right now because we're being pushed really hard by these energies to clean that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have been. The energies are really intense.
Yeah.
Well, really, really good points there. And I think that, I mean, energetically, we are shifting so much, and
Mhm.
it is really absolutely an incredible period of time that we're going through. We just have to hold the foundation of where we are and know that those of us who know we're going to be needed. We're needed right
Yeah.
now to keep everything as stable as possible, which is wonderful. But it's exciting. It's really exciting, honey. Well,
It
thank you
is.
so much for joining us and
Thank you.
do another one this week. Honey, wishing you a great day and wishing everybody a wonderful day. Good night.
Love you guys. Bye.